Welcome back to Humayun's Tomb, to this first ever joint Indo-Pak poll, the State of the Nation world exclusive, coming to you in collaboration with Dawn News and the Indian Express. Remember, in the first two segments, as we've celebrated 60 years of Indian independence and also Pakistan's independence, we've looked at cultural ties. We've also looked at the wounds of partition. But let's now look at the present, at economic and political questions. One of the questions we posed is economic conditions, those who feel satisfied with the present economic conditions. In India, 71% said yes, they feel satisfied. Now remember, this is an urban audience. In Pakistan, it was 66%. Conditions have improved. 64% in India said yes, they have improved. Only 52% in Pakistan said they'd improved. Optimistic about the future, 77% in India said they were optimistic about this country's future. 63% in Pakistan, 6 in every 10 Pakistanis felt they too were optimistic about their future. Basic necessities available, and here there's a stark contrast. 61% in India said yes, they were satisfied with basic necessities. Only 46% had a similar response in Pakistan. And then the big question that we posed: do you feel that you are politically empowered, you enjoy equal rights? 75% in India said yes, we do enjoy equal rights. Only 45% said that in Pakistan. Do you have freedom of speech? 74% in India said yes, we have freedom of speech. 3 in 4 Indians said yes. When it came to Pakistan, it was only 40%. Can you change government? And this is a dramatic finding. 80% of Indians said yes, we have the power to change governments. That's 8 in 10. In Pakistan, that figure was just half, 41%. Yogendra, democracy is the critical difference at the moment. Indians feel they can change governments.
Well, in an obvious sense, yes. If I was in Pakistan, I wouldn't say I can change the government right now. So in that sense, yes, it is a differentiator. But let's remember, it's also a differentiator in what we saw in economic figures. This happens to be a moment, Rajdeep, when there's a general sense of low in Pakistan, which accounts for all kinds of negative things that you read here. It's not necessarily a reflection on Pakistan's economy. Mind you, we're talking perceptions, we're not talking realities.
Right.
One thing that I wish to underline is that where there is no differentiation, namely about aspirations. While the reality may be different in India and Pakistan, we've just done a very elaborate study of the state of democracy. The level of aspiration and people's sense that its democracy is suitable is the same in India as in Pakistan.
So the young Indians and young Pakistanis both want democracy in that
Absolutely.
sense. Sherry Rahman,
so do middle-aged Pakistanis.
so do middle-aged Pakistanis. Now you're an opposition leader. You've had 60 years of independence, but 30 years of army rule and 30 years of civilian rule. But is that a troubling? Does that trouble you?
It's a very troubling record. Of course, it troubles me, and I think to be candid, the idea is not to sit there and gloat over what went wrong in your neighboring country,
Sure.
but the idea is to say, would democracies make us coexist better? And I think that's the key to the way forward. The polling also...
Are you still hopeful? Are you still hopeful that Pakistan will return to democracy?
I think
Is it the middle class that will drive Pakistan? Yogendra says the aspirations of the middle class?
I think that's the key word. The aspirations are equal everywhere, and perhaps more, because obviously when you haven't got something, you want it more. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say that, people in Pakistan, so many people feel they can't change government, you know why. So the search for a free and fair election, I think, is one, given that it levels the playing field for Pakistanis in one sense. And that is a search that, to my mind, gives us all a great deal of hope and something to work towards. It's the only goal.
So you're hopeful of the future. Shekhar Gupta, 60 years ago, British historians who wrote about partition wondered whether India would survive. They believed that India would break up into several smaller states, and they believed Pakistan would endure. 60 years later, in a sense, at the moment, India seems to have won the bet that the British historians placed on the subcontinent.
It's very easy to take a simplistic view of these things. Historians have wisdom about the past. You should not put too much weightage on what they predict about the future. So for political scientists, Yogendra, my apologies to you, we had a famous one, Cedric Harrison, an American social scientist who wrote a book in the 60s saying India will break up. So I think these are nations which are going through an intense process of nation building, and they come and hit their bumps. maybe we've been fortunate. We've gone over those bumps. And maybe the Pakistanis got caught in a peculiar situation in Bangladesh, mainly because there was lack of democracy. Democracy is a great pressure valve. I think India has endured because India's democracy is opened up. The rule of one party has gone away. Now there are many parties. The aspirations of many minorities, ethnicities, regions are now being fulfilled. And I think, frankly, if I have a minute more from
Yes.
you, let me speak for Sherry and Sherry's country, because
Yes.
she's a guest.
She's a guest. She's a
I'm the
wonder-
only Pakistani.
She's a guest. But I think I've spent more time in Pakistan than
Yes.
any of you here.
That she has.
I've often said this. Pakistan is as imperfect a dictatorship as India is an imperfect democracy. So in the name of democracy, we don't give our citizens quite all the rights that we must give them. Similarly, the Pakistanis, even when they have the worst kind of dictatorship, don't deny their citizens all the rights that a Kim Il-sung or a Chavez or a Gaddafi would deny. So these are
So
very
we are both,
complex
we
situations.
are both imperfect countries still working. 60 years young.
No. I would say both countries are works in progress.
Okay, works in progress. I